SmackDown review for the April 11th episode of SmackDown. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling.
Yeah, officially 8 days away from WrestleMania now. Seems like just the other day we were discussing the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber, and now all of a sudden, we're here. It's right on the doorstep. We're almost there.
Yeah, and it's absolutely crazy. Thank you all for stopping by our live stream. If you want to do that, it's right here on YouTube, COD Wrestle Pod, and wherever you get your podcast where we do Raw, SmackDown. We'll be doing one for WrestleMania. We just want to shout that out. We'll be doing a belt raffle. We'll be giving away a belt. If I can get it right here real quick. This title. So if you want to have a chance to win this, we'll be doing a belt raffle at WrestleMania. So come to the podcast and watch it there. But anyway, let's get to SmackDown. Nick Aldis was starting the show. Because dude was mad about Randy Orton RKOing him last week. Understandable.
That's fair. That seems to be. I would be upset as well.
Yeah. He said he was told to be professional, remain professional throughout tonight. He said, but I will invite Randy Orton to the stage because I want to talk to him. And Randy Orton would oblige. He'd come out and he'd say, I can tell you kind of took that personally, Mr. Nick. He said, hear me out. You know we're going to get one of those in your lifetime, right? I RKO people. And he said, if you forgot, I already paid for a fine twice, so we're even on this one. And he goes, but there's something more important we do need to talk about, Mr. Nick Aldis. I don't have a match for WrestleMania yet, and it's my 20th WrestleMania match, so I kind of need a match. And if you don't start getting me a match, if you don't look for a match for me, I may have to pay a visit to Mickie James. And we were like, oh, damn. Randy, I thought you changed.
I don't think so.
No.
Starting to hear the voices again.
Yeah, he is. He is starting to hear those voices again. Within that conversation, Nick Aldis was saying that this isn't about him paying the money for the fine or anything like that. He basically wants to just earn Randy's respect for him to not RKO him. And Randy already says, you have my respect and stuff. And that's when he said, but I want a match and I might have to go visit Mickie James if you don't see that through. And Solo Sikoa shows up randomly. We're going, uh-oh. And Solo's here. And he goes, no one wants to hear you cry, Randy. It's over for you. You're in the past. And Randy Orton gets all pissed and starts yelling around. He says the voices are knocking and they're telling me to beat your ass right now. And so Solo and Tom are like, well, it's 2v1. No, we'll do that. They run in the ring. They start beating up on Mr. Randy Orton. And LA Knight's the one to show up because obviously Jacob Fatu has a match against him at WrestleMania. They all start fighting in the ring. LA Knight and Randy Orton, they get the advantage. And LA Knight, after the fact, basically calls them out for a match later tonight, which Nick Aldis is still out there. And he says, you know what? That sounds damn good. I'll pop it. But the one takeaway from all this Randy Orton stuff is, if it ain't Nick Aldis, I don't want anybody. I know we're leaning toward Solo Sikoa being the opponent maybe after what happens tonight, but it should be Nick Aldis and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. But I'll pop it.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's Nick Aldis or nothing. Now, obviously, Randy's going to have a match either way, and we'll get into it a little bit. You have Solo. We talked about it a little bit last week when KO made the announcement. You also have some potentially like re-debuts, returning guys like an Aleister Black. You had a Rey Fenix. There was like even a Rusev comment here and there, things like that. None of that really works for me. Solo, even though Solo feels like he should be on the card because he had such a great year last year, we know that Randy's going to win the match. And so I would rather Randy just have it against Nick Aldis, have a nice little one-on-one. Nick has another RKO. At the end of the day, they just shake hands and that's that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Solo Sikoa deserves to be on the card, like you said. He's done phenomenal work that I think WWE has kind of forgotten about because the Bloodline story has moved past him and Bloodline 2.0. But it's one of those things where I personally don't think that Solo just needs a 1.5 week build to a match against Randy Orton at Mania just to take a loss. I think that those two can do a better long-term feud eventually down the line. And so if you're not going to be able to give me that, just throw Nick Aldis in there for the feel-good story of seeing Nick Aldis get a WrestleMania moment. Randy can easily beat him in like 4 or 5 minutes. It makes everybody happy. It's the obvious answer. Do it, WWE.
Yes, the obvious answer. So they're not going to do that.
Exactly. Well, moving on, though, we did have our women's tag gauntlet because guess what we need to do? Get Liv Morgan a match 8 days out from WrestleMania. What the hell?
That's what you said. You said it. I didn't say it.
Well, the match starts. It's Lyra Valkyria teaming up with Bayley, and they're taking on Perez PFC. PFC's back.
Fan favorite.
Fan favorites, PFC. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, of course, because the other one is no longer here. I'm sorry. But it's a gauntlet match, so it's always two teams in the ring. One gets eliminated, next one comes in. There was some good stuff here, but most of the time it was Zoe Stark doing her best in there. She would get a good drop kick right to Lyra Valkyria. Missile drop kick where she wasn't on the camera, and then all of a sudden she was there out of nowhere. But Bayley would end up rolling up Shayna Baszler during some shenanigans there. So PFC, we love seeing you, but you're out of here. And that would bring in Maxine Dupree and Natalya, who's a recent tag team that no one's seen before. But Natalya would do all the work until after commercial break was over. Maxine would get her moments in there. Top rope cross body. She would hit a perfect plex on one of them. And then she'd even do a double caterpillar to both of them, to Lyra and Bayley, which was great. But she would do too much and go for the sharpshooter in front of Natalya, right? And Bayley would roll her up out of the sharpshooter. And Natalya was standing there looking at her the entire time and just let her get pinned.
She was just very shocked.
She was shocked.
Anyway. Good move. Happens all the time in the scary movies.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Could have just walked in there and kicked her, but it's
stunned.
It's all good. Anyway, next up are the party people. Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and they did all their good stuff. They even hit the cake stand, one of their best moves. They're just athletic as hell, man. I love watching Katana Chance in the ring specifically. But Lyra would eventually ragdoll Katana Chance around, like pick her up, throw her on her shoulder, pop her up, hit the Nightwing 1, 2, 3 there. So Lyra and Bayley move on from that one. And now it's B-Fab and Mi Shin, who do have a little bit of tag team action recently there. And Mi Shin and B-Fab would kill them for like the majority of this, mostly Lyra.
Majority through the commercial break, after the commercial break, did not matter.
It was a selling night for Lyra and Bayley. They had to go in there and put in some absolute work. Eventually, though, Bayley would hit the Rose Plant on B-Fab, which would have them moving on once again. So Bayley's got 3 pins here tonight. I was like, damn, good for Bayley. And that's when the Secret Hervis is here. Alba Fire and Piper. Chelsea Green walks out the set with them, but then sends them alone. Chelsea Green is not there to help them out there tonight. And Alba Fire and them just destroyed for the first big portion of this. They got in the ring. Alba Fire immediately threw them both outside of the ring, threw them into the barricades, was doing all the nonsense. She even did a tornado DDT off of one of them, and then Bayley would hit a double DDT on both Piper and Alba, which would kind of get, the Lyra hot tag going. All the good stuff was going here. Lyra would powerbomb Piper out of the corner, which was absolutely great. And Bayley would get a tag and hit the flying elbow off the top rope. And we thought, well, that's it. 1, 2. Piper kicks out at 1. Just throws Bayley off of that. We were like, damn, they're booking Piper to be the woman here. Absolute good stuff here. Secret Hervis would hit like a tag team finisher where Piper holds Lyra or Bayley down, and while Alba Fire does a swanton off the top rope, and Lyra would come and break that pin up. So all hell is breaking loose at this point. Eventually, though, we would get a Rose Plant to Alba Fire, followed by a Lyra leg drop off the top rope, which leads to Lyra and Bayley winning the match. So it is official. WrestleMania, we are getting Lyra Valkyria teaming with Bayley to take on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. What's your take or thoughts on this match initially? I loved all of this. I'm popping it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. You ask about the thoughts. There's 2 separate thoughts here that I think are important, and I think almost everybody would agree with. You see tonight that Lyra and Bayley would be a fantastic tag team together. They're amazing to watch. And everything flowed really well, and they played well off each other, and it was fun to watch. It was exciting. So you got that side. I can't wait for that match. I mean, it's going to be a good match. And then you've got the women's IC champion is in a tag title match, not defending her title. I understand both sides of it. It's like, yeah, that was a fun match. It was great for what it was. The Liv match is going to be fantastic at Mania. But I also think I probably would have liked to see Lyra and Bayley go at it at Mania for the women's IC title. But that's the only drawback. Like, I'm still going to be positive about this and be like, okay, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic match. And it's going to be 4 women in the card that deserve to be on the card and a great tag match.
Yeah, I'm with you. If Lyra Valkyria didn't have a brand new title around her waist that needs to be showcased in itself, I would have been like, this is awesome, because all we've seen is this one gauntlet match for Lyra and Bayley. And I'm like, yep, I'm sold on you guys being a tag team. You guys literally are perfect for each other. I would love to see them remain a tag team for the future. But you got an IC title around your waist that needs to be defended at WrestleMania, in my opinion. Obviously, we're not getting that. There's also the side that's like, we just found out Liv's opponent 8 days before WrestleMania. Yikes. We have no time to build anything up. Of course, we're probably going to get a big attack on Raw and SmackDown, maybe because the tag titles can flow there, which will be cool and fine. But like, the year that Liv had deserves a big old title feud, or a big old feud in general that has some meat behind it. But at the end of the day, the match quality is going to be great, which is the theme of this card, right? The theme of the card is crappy build, phenomenal match, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of agree that it's probably going to end up with Lyra and Bayley having some sort of miscommunication, or Bayley getting pissed at Lyra, something like that. And you can run that back at a later date, which is fine. But it does feel like they should have given a little bit more to Liv and Raquel. They've been doing some great work. I know they were out there for commentary, like they were by the commentary table to watch. They would have just put them on commentary. I don't know. Feels weird that we didn't. Yeah, it just feels weird that we didn't get really anything.
They weren't involved in the match basically at all. Very early on, Bayley and Liv kind of got into it, but that was it. We did find out after this match that Charlotte attacked Tiffany before the show, or I guess if you were on social medias, you found that out before the show. And Joe Tessitore gave us the news that WWE sent them both home, or sent Charlotte home. So that was
no Charlotte Flair for the night.
That was setting the table for that later tonight. But we get Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre coming face to face for the first time since Damian Priest got glass in Drew McIntyre's eye. Drew Patchentire in our Discord, in our chat. But anyway, Damian Priest is making his entrance to the ring. Drew shows up and attacks him from behind, starts throwing his head against the barricade, and they got the barricade doing all the funny things with the lights where it looks broken and stuff. And he slams his head like probably 10 times, which was enough to send him back. So he sends him back to the security, comes pick Damian up, and they take Damian Priest out to the back, or back into the set and stuff. While Drew takes the mic, he's got the patch on, all that good stuff. He says, "Can you see me clearly now?" Get it? Because his eye. And he says, "Drew only tells the truth. Every action I have is justified, including what I just did to that guy, because that parasite always benefits off me getting screwed." And he says, then he wants to challenge me to the Sin City street fight match at WrestleMania, and I'm going to beat his ass. That's basically what he said. This has been a year in the making. I have some good news, though. And he takes his eye patch off. He says, "I'm 100% cleared." So Priest is 100% screwed. And when that happens, Damian Priest has, his stamina bars back up. He stumbles back out from the set, and he starts to attack. He runs to the ring, and they fight to the outside. And Damian's trying to throw Drew's face in the stairs to re-injure the eye, but that eventually turns into Drew picking up the steel stairs and throwing them at Damian, hitting him with them. And then he hits Damian with a future shock DDT onto these stairs, and Damian's selling it like a king. His eyes are like wide open. It's good to note Drew took Damian's necklace. So I don't know if we're going to do a Punk storyline with that, where we turn the necklace into something that's just as valuable as a title belt. You can do it if you're Drew McIntyre. But takeaway here is that it's official at WrestleMania. We're getting Drew versus Damian in a Sin City street fight. This feud has been good. Tonight's stuff only added more to it. I'm popping all of it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I kind of wish Drew had played up the eye patch a little bit more. I would have liked to see that maybe at Mania. He reveals that he's perfectly fine. But this is going to be good, and this was just a continuation tonight. Nothing crazy to write home. A good bump for Damian. I mean, people say Damian doesn't sell, but he sold here, and that was awesome. The necklace thing, it is a little bit weird because I feel like that's, we're 8 days away, so it feels like that's rushed in the sense of like it being a major story beat. So who knows if maybe that's like a backlash thing? I don't know. Who knows? But this match will be good. I do like the Sin City street fight aspect. It's nice to have those stipulation matches here and there, and this kind of deserves it a little bit, especially with the real glass and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, this feud, they're going to try to do the necklace thing and bring that into it very last second. Can they pull it off? I don't know. Sure. If you want to give me a reason to care about the lore to this match, sure. But all I care about is that we are getting the street fight. We are getting, the whole point of this feud is just them beating the shit out of each other in the backstage areas. And we got the part where Damian put him through the car windshield. So it's like, this is exactly what you need. And now my only hope is the Sin City street fight finds its way into the Vegas sphere.
Man.
That would be incredible if they could pull that off for even like 60 seconds during a match, that'd be great.
I would say that would be really cool if they, if they started the street fight like earlier in the day and they had like recorded something and it's earlier in the day and then it spills out and then it continues. You know what I mean?
Oh, they should go on the Vegas Strip 100%. It'd be sick.
Something's got it.
You can't call it a Sin City street fight, then not go around.
You got to have something cool.
Yeah.
Something next level.
I completely agree. DIY's in the back going crazy. Pretty Deadly's laugh at him. Motor City Machine Guns announced that they have a title match next week. So I am going to say this real quick. I'm giving this a drop real quick. And you're going to ask, what? What do you mean? They didn't do much. I'm giving it a drop that after all of this SmackDown tag team, shenanigans over the past couple of months, the fact that they don't get a title match, none of them get a title match at WrestleMania, yet the War Raiders and New Day get a title match at WrestleMania because that was officially announced. That makes absolutely no sense. I'm dropping the hell out of that. Street Profits, all these tag teams have been putting in the work weekly on SmackDown television, while the Raw tag team belts, people wouldn't even be able to tell you most of the time who are the champions at the moment. That they mess that up. I'm dropping that.
Yeah.
That's it?
I agree 100%. There's not much more to add, really. You still get people confused. War Raiders, Viking War Raiders. Yeah. What are their Viking Raiders? What are their names? Who are they? We still don't really get a ton of promo stuff. And they had the match, and it was like a weird, hey, he hit you. Well, you're going to get a rematch, I guess. But it doesn't make any sense. Street Profits should be on there. And at least one of the tag teams. You could do the match that's next week on SmackDown. You could do that at Mania. Would I be a little upset if it wasn't? I think a Fatal 4-Way is kind of deserved. The Garzas are kind of tied up in some different stuff. They could even be in there. And you could even have Melo Don't Miz in there as well and make it like a 6 tag team match. But it feels weird that you did so much chaos for so long and incorporated all these teams. Pay attention here and here and here and here, but then look over here. And then it's just like, you don't get anything.
Makes absolutely no sense. Justice for the SmackDown tag division because they should be on the Mania card 100%. But then we got this sweet thing. Berto versus Rey Fenix. Doesn't sound like a ton when you say it out loud. This match slapped.
Yeah, match of the night. Yeah.
Sure. Easy. The match just started out instantly with Rey trying to go to the top rope and Berto just pushing him off the top rope. And then Berto coming over with a corkscrew suicide dive over the top rope that nailed him. And then Rey would do the same thing back to him a couple minutes later and nail that one. It was absolutely great. Berto would do his springboard kick into a sit-down powerbomb, get the 1-2, ooh, and Rey would reply with a springboard top rope Frankensteiner, 1-2, ooh there. These dudes are putting on an absolute show. Eventually, Berto would get a pop-up powerbomb, 1-2, ooh, and Rey would then pop up, do the thing where he runs the ropes into a knee. He knees you while he's running the ropes.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Jumps down, hits the MMB, 1, 2, 3. Rey wins. After the match, Santos and the rest of El Gato del Fantasma, they come out. And Santos makes Berto shake Rey's hand. And then throughout the night, we get, Santos is wanting Rey Fenix to be a part of El Gato and a bunch of stuff that we need to look forward to down the line. But in terms of this match, holy match of the night, man, popping the hell out of it.
Yeah, match of the night. It was quick. It was awesome, fast paced action here, there. You got your mix of some aerial assaults, but you also got some nice power bombs, things like that. Some nice stiff wrestling as well. They're doing the Rey Fenix Penta showcase again, and they're just continuing to kind of press all the right buttons here. It's nice to see because you don't really get to see a lot of singles wrestling like this. Well, in WWE at least, you don't get to see some of this. So it's nice to get a little bit of a different wrestling style than when your typical WWE. WWE typically, structures the match. Hey, here, this. This is nice. This is exciting. It gets the casual fans interested. There might not have been a ton of people there that were excited for this match or maybe knew who they were, but this was awesome.
Yeah, completely agree. If WWE keeps this up, Rey Fenix versus Penta down the line, when that inevitably happens, is going to be just a huge match. Because if they're just going to come out and let them showcase week in, week out like this and get these type of quality matches with guys that nobody really knows, right? Like Berto's been stuck in the El Gato place forever. He looks like a star today. So it's just really, really good stuff. And WWE should keep it up because they got some stars in the making with this type of stuff. Eventually, though, we go backstage. Roxanne Perez is there looking for a talk to Nick Aldis because she doesn't have a stand and deliver match. She doesn't have a WrestleMania match. And so she's just kind of like, she even digs at Tiffany. She says, I've been watching what Tiffany and Charlotte have been doing, and I could do that any day of the week. And that's when Tiffany shows up, and she says, basically starts talking trash and says, you should be sitting there watching me and learning from my greatness. And Roxanne says, learn from what? Have you been watching what you've been doing the last few weeks? And Nick Aldis comes out, and he's all mad. And Tiffany Stratton's like, I want to fight you right now here tonight. So later tonight, we get Roxanne Perez versus Tiffany Stratton on free TV. Hell yeah. We then got a Punk and Heyman promo video, long video, just kind of going through the history of them, which was really good. Chelsea Green is locked out of the Secret Service room.
Yeah, they're in the trainer doctor.
Oh, they're in the doctor
because
room.
They got beat so bad, apparently.
They got beat
which
up.
It was just a normal ending of the match, but they went to the doctor,
Anyway, she has a match against Zelina Vega, and that means she's going to have to go out there and fight alone against Zelina Vega. And Zelina Vega is there to tell her that and laugh at her for that. So we're getting Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega, and Chelsea's alone. Your champion, Chelsea Green, who's been doing spectacular work. We go out there, bell rings, Chelsea's pissed. Chelsea throws Zelina over the ropes. They go outside. She throws her into the barricade. She throws her into the post, picks her up, throws her against the announce table, throws Zelina Vega into the ring. Well, it's a 9 count already as Zelina gets thrown into the ring. Ref proceeds to count to 10. Ding, ding. Zelina Vega wins via count out. That's it. That's all we get. And we think, you think to yourself, well, they're just going to announce right here, right now, we're getting the match at Mania. No, we're getting a 6-woman tag team match on SmackDown next week. Chelsea Green should be one of your stars. Zelina Vega and her could put on a really, really good match. We should have a good story here leading into Mania. Dropping it.
This was terrible.
Yeah.
This was awful. God, I don't even know where to begin. Chelsea Green should be on the Mania card. I think we all can kind of agree to that. Zelina Vega, she was in LWO and then she moves over to SmackDown and she's had little promos of like, I'm coming for that title. Hasn't really had any matches, hasn't really had any build-up. She's been kind of pushed to the side. Makes you really wonder kind of what's going on. Like, why are we not doing this? It seems like it would just make sense to do it. I mean, they're both great in the ring. They're both good on a mic. Seems like it would just print money, but I guess they don't want to do that. So I don't really understand this. And like you said, it leads to a 6-woman tag match next week with Zelina and the Party People versus Chelsea and the Secret Service. And it's like, so then Chelsea's not even defending her title that SmackDown before. Like, I understand Street Profits deserve to be on there, but you could say, hey, the SmackDown before, like, you're defending your titles. Go out and make that your WrestleMania. Well, Chelsea doesn't even get that, really. So It just seems like a big failure on WWE's end.
Yeah, I mean, my only takeaway from this really was, I could sit here all day and say Chelsea Green should be having a match at Mania, right? I could scream that from the rooftops. That should be a given. I don't know how that's not a thing, period. But my bigger thing is neither of the women's mid-card titles are going to be defended at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. Mere months after they're introduced to the roster, mere months after they were given to 2 of the women that everybody wanted the belts to go to. Everybody was excited. You made the right decision. You finally gave us the belts and you put them on the right people. Hell yeah, WWE. And we're getting to Mania and there's no stories for either of them and no matches, singles matches for those titles to build any other talent around those belts either. It feels like a complete misstep. It feels like a complete missed opportunity by WWE. It's tragic, honestly.
Yeah, and like you say, they put the belts on the right people. Like, they made them a big deal too. They made the titles a big deal originally, and you're like, cool, like, I should care. This gives some of those people that maybe aren't in those upper echelons, it gives more women a chance. We get to see more women wrestling. Like, the women's wrestling right now is the greatest that it's been. Awesome. Fantastic. You've got a bunch of talent in NXT that's ready to come up eventually. So let's just build these things. And the WWE is just like, no, yeah, we don't want to do that. And it's just like, what's the point of the titles?
Yeah, and you even have great challengers for them sitting there because you could have had Bailey and Lyra go one-on-one for that title. And if Lyra goes over, all of a sudden she's in that echelon with the Baileys of the world, which is phenomenal. Zelina Vega has been touted as one of the best women's wrestlers for a while, but somebody that never gets her flowers from WWE. That's a great moment for her if she's able to beat Chelsea Green, or vice versa. If Chelsea Green beats her, it's just good overall for the women's division and good matches for WrestleMania. An opportunity missed. We can sit there and talk about it forever. Speaking of great women that are going to have a great match at WrestleMania and they're doing the right thing on, though, Naomi. Naomi and Jade would have a promo battle via vignette. Naomi was first up. She said there's one word that fits Jade. She's a snake. She said, if I didn't attack you, I know that down the line it would have been me that got attacked. Bianca and me grew together after you got injured, and now she won't even look at me. Now I'm doing what's best for me instead. And at Mania, you need to proceed with caution, which Jade replies with, you think that you can duck me? I am pissed off. You don't know what's best for me, Naomi. What happened? What happens to a fading star? Well, I guess you'll know because that's you. You're losing all your glow. You're just jealous of me because of all of my glow. And at Mania, I'm your biggest threat. A storm is coming. I mean, it's just week in, week out. These two are great. Naomi's the best in the world. I love her promo packages. It's great. This didn't give me much, but I'm already so sold. This is just more icing on that cake. I like it. Pop.
Yeah, you kind of have to pop this.
Yeah.
We just talked about multiple women who deserve better and the women's roster as a whole that deserves better going into WrestleMania. And then you immediately follow that stuff up with this and you're like, this is how it should be all the time. The women's roster should be treated the same as the men's roster. They are showing that when they're given a chance, like, hey, they flourish, they shine, they glow. You like that? Yeah. Look at that. This is really good stuff. Naomi once again playing like crazy psycho proceed with caution role.
Yeah.
I mean, it is phenomenal. I was never really the biggest Naomi fan. Doubted her being a heel, but damn, it's good. And then Jade is Jade. Like, maybe she's not the most polished, but what they did here was perfect. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this match to me is one of the most interesting in terms of winners. I think that the easy pick is Jade because she's the big baby face who is like the future and all this stuff. But there's also so much argument for why Naomi and this new character should be able to get the win here and really push her as one of the top heels in the women's division and get her on a set path to the title and all this stuff that you can do with this story with Bianca too. It writes itself. It's like one of the best build-ups they've had in this Mania by far, in my opinion. The proceed with caution stuff is great. I can't wait to see what a heel Naomi looks like in the ring against somebody like Jade. Is she going to be scared of her? Is she going to run? She's not going to run because most people run from Jade and are kind of scared. So I'm very interested in it, and they keep telling me over and over and over again. And I'm happy. This next part was a little weird though. We go to the ring and the ring is covered in titles. All the titles from forever ago to now. It's got the spinner belt, the two winged eagles, meaning the normal winged eagle and the big winged eagle. It's got the undisputed. If you look behind us, a couple of them were up there. All the titles are lined up, and Cody Rhodes is coming
in there too.
Bruno's belt's in there. Andre the Giant's belt's in there too. I think we covered all of them. Anyway, Cody Rhodes comes out with the big belt that is on wrestlers now, and he puts it on the podium right in the middle. So he's making a scene here, and he goes, "This is the tangible realization of best wrestler in the world." That's what the title means. He says, "I'm blessed to carry it now, but it will not always be me. Eventually, it could be somebody from NXT watching. Hell, it could be someone from Seattle." Gets the pop, right? Little kid from Seattle. Then he goes, "Then there's John Cena, who's not here. He's neglecting Seattle. He won't be there until Las Vegas next week." He said, "He referred to me and my tattoo as a common fan." So what, John? So what? I want to be somebody. I want to be like the people in front of me. And that's why he started pointing these belts. And he went to every single belt and he pointed out a trait of one of the great superstars. I believe he pointed out Eddie for the undisputed title. And HBK was the winged eagle. He pointed out a good trait.
I think that was Taker.
Oh, he pointed out Taker?
Because he said be a phenom.
Ah, he said be a phenom.
Yeah, he talks about Bruno's belt and selling out 187 days or whatever it was. Something like that.
And then he gets to the spinner. Spinner's on its own little podium. And he says, or somebody who can carry a company like John Cena. He said he looks at this spinner as a joke, as a toy is what he calls it. I see it as a man who is finding himself. Does that sound familiar, John? Because it sounds like me. He goes, I am the champion, John. You are not. John is always teaching, but I feel like I can finally teach him a lesson here right now, John. They are allowed to love somebody else, is what he says about the crowd. He goes, I'll tell you the same thing that I tell everybody, John. I do not flinch. I wrestle. I will be in this ring at the end of it, and I will leave you saying goodbye. Your time is up, John. This belt is tireless, and it stays with us. Good charged Cody Rhodes promo.
Yeah, charged for sure.
The belts were a good thing. I mean, obviously, we're a sucker for some belts here. I mean, look at it.
Common fans.
It's common fans. I saw all that. I saw a good Cody charged promo. I mean, he's doing the work that he can without John being there. I loved it. Pop.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I actually didn't love the belts as much as maybe you did.
Oh.
It was cool, I guess, but it was also kind of just like, you didn't necessarily need them, really. It was just kind of like, okay, cool. I really like what he said, though. I really like the positive message about it's okay for them to cheer for somebody else. That's kind of my main takeaway here is like, just as a whole for wrestling fans, like you might like somebody, I might not, or I might like somebody that you don't. And it seems to be like an all-out war if everybody doesn't agree on the same thing. It's okay if people like somebody you maybe don't like, or maybe they don't like somebody that you do like. That's okay. That's all right. I really like that part of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't look at it that way. I didn't look at it that deep, but that's a very good point. It's a good little metaphor to the IWC in general right now. I feel like we do live in sort of a time where you're not allowed to have your opinion on, you're not allowed to have your opinion. If someone's going to hate on you for whatever you say, obviously we're in a different position because we decide to say it on the internet and give people a platform to hate. And that's totally okay. If you want to discuss your opinion in a hateful way toward us, go ahead and say it. We're not saying that we're smart or anything,
open up the floodgates there.
Yeah, open up the floodgates there. Anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I love what he was saying. I'm a John Cena fan through and through, and I hope John Cena wins. But Cody's doing some great work here, and he's proven that he is one of one overall on the mic. He is that guy, the next generation's John Cena, whoever you want to be to carry the company. He's just phenomenal. We should love him while we have him. Anyway, let's move on. We get this pretty good match. Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez, two up-and-comers, and who are pretty big in this industry.
25-year-old and 23, I believe, is what they were hammering home, I guess.
Good Lord, they've done a lot more with their lives than me. Okay. We get a back and forth, though, for the beginning of this match. They're basically testing the waters with each other. You couldn't get the best out of each other, but eventually Roxanne would get pulled by Tiffany in the ring. She was yanking her foot, and Roxanne grabbed the apron and pulled the apron all the way into the ring. So the ref was like, I'm going to go fix that. And Roxanne was like, I'm going to go cheat now. And I think she tried to gouge Tiffany's eyes out, something like that. She poked her in the eye. Stomps her hand onto the apron. She's hurting her, dominating most of this match. Eventually would get Tiffy having to come back. She'd hit a spine buster twice on Roxanne Perez. Why not?
Everybody gets one.
If it works once, might as well work twice.
Double tap.
Double tap spine buster.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. It's actually a good move. You should think, eventually Roxanne would go for the springboard moonsault, but Tiff would get her knees up. And then they'd back and forth some more. Roxanne would miss a pop rocks, all that good stuff. She would get a crossface locked on Tiffany, but Tiffany were to get out of that. Pop right up, hit the prettiest moonsault of all time. Tiffany Stratton gets a 1, 2, 3 clean win over Roxanne Perez. But Charlotte Flair is there, even though she was banned from the arena. That's not.
She got sent home.
Yeah, come on, Charlotte. She starts beating up on the champ, sends her off the ring post, throws her over the announce table. But she would have done more damage if it weren't for good boy Wade Barrett. You had some bad news for Charlotte.
There it is.
He said, this attack is over, Charlotte. And he stands in between Charlotte and Roxanne.
No, Charlotte and Tiffany.
Charlotte and Tiffany, sorry. And he stands in between them, and nothing more happens. Wade Barrett was enough.
Yep.
Hold the flood off, Wade. Anyway, I mean, we got Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez on free TV. They did not overdo the Charlotte Flair stuff afterward. It was a quick attack that got the point across. I had nothing to complain about. I'm popping it.
Yeah, it's a pop. It's a look into the future. I mean, these two are extremely young. They're extremely talented. If you haven't watched a ton of NXT, you're maybe not familiar with them. I mean, obviously Tiffany's had some more time, obviously, to showcase her skills, but maybe not Roxanne as much. So you get another showcase for her. Basically, you see her at the Rumble, you see her at Chamber. She's fantastic.
Yeah,
she's so good. Tiffany is also fantastic. They're both insanely good in the ring.
Yep.
It's kind of like, damn, I wish this was almost just the Mania match. Like, that's what I thought when I found it. Like, when I was watching it, I was like, man, this is good. So one day we'll get that, and that'll be fantastic. Like you said, it's important that they didn't overdo the Charlotte stuff, especially with the chaos of last week. And they didn't do that here. And they did just enough to where, like, okay, you got to have bare minimum stuff here.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And it was fine. It was okay. It's just like, all right, let's just move it along.
Yeah. I mean, my only complaint, nitpick, was I wish Charlotte would have shown up 5 seconds earlier and them not give a full-on clean win over Roxanne Perez. I get it. She's a champion. She needs big wins like this. But, like, I just look at Roxanne Perez as, like, the future. And if she's losing clean on SmackDown, you know, that you have to write her into a little bit of a corner there already. But it's okay. I'm ready for everything. Wasn't too much Charlotte here.
That's the nitpickiest of nitpicky pickers. That's ridiculous.
That's not ridiculous at all.
She's the champion.
Roxanne's better on a mic.
But she's not the champion.
Yeah, well, eventually she will be. And if Tiffany can
that's not right now.
Anyway, we get our main event. Orton and Knight versus Solo and Tama Tonga, who are announced as Solo and Tama Tonga. Not the Bloodline 2.0 anymore or anything.
No, because Jacob's not there, so there's no...
True.
I guess, maybe. I don't, but that's not true, because they definitely have had called like 2 of them Bloodline 2.0.
Yeah, but they didn't. I'm saying on the card, it just said Solo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They've done it before where it's just 2.
Who knows? Anyway, the match would start out LA Knight versus Tama Tonga, but when Randy got his hot tag in pretty quickly, he was clearing shop with all of his scoop slams, draping DDTs, all the good stuff. Yeah, they had like 5 minutes to do this match. Literally, the main event was like they had like 5 minutes to do this thing. Solo would Samoan drop Randy, and then each team would get their moment, right? But LA Knight would get a hot tag and clear house up until Solo getting a good old spike on him. But then Orton got in the ring and RKO Tama Tonga, and then Orton and Solo just fought into the crowd. Bye-bye. and that left LA Knight and Tama Tonga, which we had a really funny end sequence to this where they both just took a finisher. So they both slowly got up, their stamina bars loading, and they backed into each other. LA Knight turned around. Oh, you're right there. BFT. 1, 2, 3. He wins. Oh, okay. That was a lot of dramatic for that ending.
I kind of liked it.
I did too.
It was a little ridiculous.
Fatu pops up. He's there. Super kicks him. Sentons him. Headbutts him. Tribal cheeks. Gives him a moonsault.
Sweet cheeks music.
Picks the belt up. Then throws it down. The U.S. title. Then he moonsaults again. And then he does end up picking the belt up and giving it a good old lick. Licks the belt.
A couple of moonsaults, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of moonsaults. So Jacob Fatu ends up standing tall at the end of this one. A lot of stuff here. I mean, Jacob Fatu is ready to destroy LA Knight at WrestleMania. We may be getting a Randy Orton Solo Sikoa thing happening. I'm going to go ahead and pop it.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. This didn't do anything too crazy for me. It's hard to when there's only 5 minutes. I think we've talked about that before. But all these guys in the ring, we enjoy their work. Nothing terrible happened, so I'm going to pop it. I do hope the main takeaway is not the Fatu LA Knight. It's not Tama Tonga. It's Randy Orton and Solo fighting off again. And I'm like, damn it. I want Nick and Randy.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So hopefully that's what we get. Probably going to be Randy and Solo the more that I think about it. But give me Nick and Randy, and then Solo versus LA is going to be fantastic at Mania. That's going to be really fun. LA Knight better be ready because Jacob Fatu is coming for that title.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the takeaways here are Randy and Solo going to fight each other? I kind of hope not. I mean, I'll be fine with it if I get it. I'm not going to complain about such a match, but now that Nick Aldis has been planted in my head, that's all I want. So I'm going to stick to that. Fatu and LA Knight should be a phenomenal match. I was hoping Solo got tacked onto that at some point so we could continue the Jacob Fatu Solo Sikoa thing that was happening there for a bit, but it looks like that kind of got pieced off. Maybe so that Randy and Solo could do their thing. That's another reason for it. But, in terms of the SmackDown, I mean, we gave it 16 pops. We gave it 4 drops. So you think it was super good. I would not call it super good. There was nothing bad really on this show. But in terms of it being one of the final take-home shows of WrestleMania, they're really not giving us anything. I think that this is just another one of those episodes on this mild build to WrestleMania that has been this year, where it's just like, okay, let's just get there. I want to watch these matches. You're not going to do anything more for me in terms of selling them.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Because they're, the recap packages we always joke about, they always seem to have multiple recap packages every show. For a road to WrestleMania, like you said, 2 SmackDowns before, didn't really feel that way. It doesn't really feel like we're punching the gas. We're kind of just coasting. We're on cruise control right now, heading into WrestleMania. So maybe they turn it up next week. Hopefully they do. Nothing extremely good here to write home about. The Ray Phoenix Berto stuff was good. I would say that's probably the highlight. And the women's gauntlet match, I would say was good too.
Yeah.
The first hour started off pretty good, and then it seemed to kind of coast after that. So hopefully next week that's a little bit different. Like you said, really just ready for Mania at this point.
We got Cena next week, so next SmackDown should be good. But at this point, we only got 3 more shows, so 2 more shows, and then we got a WrestleMania. We got Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. But on our live stream, we will be watching Raw and SmackDown, and then of course WrestleMania, where we will be having this belt raffle, WrestleMania, on our YouTube channel, live stream, youtube.com/@CodWrestlePod. It'll be a raffle for this title, so you can come try to win this here replica title belt. But for the rest of everything else, @CodWrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts, we have a link tree in our bio. It's got all of our links. Go ahead and like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We greatly appreciate every single one of you. Truly. But till next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.